Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Hey guys, my name is Liana Ruppert, and I am the Editor-in-Chief of PrimaGames.com and Editorial Director of Greenlit Content and ReKTGlobal. I am also the co-owner of Don't Feed the Gamers, which my husband runs, so, yay! With over 17 years working in games media, there are a lot of games that I could be talking about, but there's one in particular that I can't ever seem to get out of my head. So, today for the Fun and Games podcast, I'm going to be talking about Dragon Age 2. Dragon Age 2 continues the story from Origins with Hawke and family fleeing Lothering from the Blight, but this tale is far from a happy one, and it's a classic case of you lose some, well, you lose some. With a troubled development timeline, BioWare was forced to cut down on the highly anticipated sequel, which led to a bitter taste in so many people's mouths. The repetitious locations and the shorter narrative was a far cry from what we experienced in Origins and Awakening, but when it did shine, it shined so much brighter than people give it credit for. Though a controversial opinion 100%, I think Dragon Age 2 is actually my favorite of the three games so far, development issues aside. It has some of the most amazing characters and the character arcs that I've ever seen, and this narrative really made me feel close to those different companions despite the game's short length. And okay, so I'm not really sure what this says about me as a person, but I also really and thoroughly enjoyed the hero not so hero tale. No matter what Hawke did, it was just never enough. They stopped the Incanari invasion only to see Kirkwall fall to the divisive structure of mages versus Templars. They helped their companions with meaningful loyalty quests, and it still wasn't enough to know what Anders was planning. They were also incredibly dutiful to the family to the T, and it still wasn't enough to save their sibling or their mother from falling to a heinous blood magic ritual. Hawke was really just never meant to win, and that's a story and a tragedy that aren't often told in games, and that turmoil definitely set the beautiful stage for what came next with Dragon Age Inquisition. For a game's narrative and characters to shine through despite glaring mechanical and development issues is rare, and that's a big reason why I think Dragon Age 2 is a grossly missed opportunity for those that haven't played it due to reviews. And I get it, I totally get it. My first time running through this game, I actually didn't enjoy it myself. It wasn't until I played through different Hawks with different choices, love interest, and going purple, because Purple Hawk is the best Hawk, that I truly began to appreciate that this was one of those games where the devil is in the details. I think one of the favorite parts of this game for me is seeing Fenris in action and seeing him evolve and just seeing all of the layers that are underneath that spiky armor. When we first meet this broody elf, he's riddled with a survivor's prerogative and a distrustful nature. This makes sense given that he's an escaped slave from Tevinter, and from what was implied by quite a few interactions in the game, his time as a slave was rife with abuse outside of the lyrium markings engraved into his skin. This is a character that, despite his past, holds himself with a poise that even nobles can't seem to nail. At first, many think he's kind of this stick in the mud with no character, but with the right party, his dry wit really does shine through. When he's not doing his gluey fisty thing and snapping slaver necks, he's joking about dancing in his stolen mansion. Or we think he's joking. And making witty commentary about what's going on in Kirkwall. But where he truly shined with me was one clear conversation he had with Anders later on in the game. With Fenris, everything that went wrong in his life was at the behest of mages. With Anders, on the flip side of that, he is a mage, and everything that went wrong in his life was due to the Templars and other non-mages. He also experienced a lot of brutality on his end at that prejudice as well, which is something that's very important for these character interactions. This is a duality that is very much an important part of all of the Dragon Age games, but truly acted as a catalyst in Dragon Age 2, where Fenris learns that not all mages are bad and learns to appreciate people for their individuality. We see Anders go from this flirty, frivolous character in Awakening and see him really descend into the shell of himself plagued by justice. Literally. He's literally takes the spirit of justice into him. The weight of his imposed duty with this pairing drug him through the mud, and it was a descent clearly witnessed throughout the game's 3 acts. Though at the start of Dragon Age 2, the characters Anders and Fenris seem to be on equal footing despite on different sides of the same coin. we saw a moment between the two where it was truly evident that the two distinct paths in life that we all face. Do we let these hardships define us, or do we let that freedom in, what it means to be free in? Do we take that weighty responsibility of freedom? These two characters have a back and forth throughout the entire game, and sometimes it can border on a little vicious. That being said, there was one particular conversation between the pair that Fenris made an offhand comment to Anders, noticing the dissent, noticing he's becoming more reserved, and Anders, of course, misunderstood and went on the attack. Fenris claimed responsibility for misspeaking for once and seemed to approach him as someone would approach a dog that's on the verge of biting, which is interesting, drawing that comparison, considering how Anders himself likened Fenris to a rabid dog, especially if Fenris is romanced by Hawk. Though Fenris made the effort to correct the misunderstanding, Anders wasn't really having it, and it was that moment, at least for me personally, that stuck out the most, of seeing that pinpoint moment in the game where things shifted to a point of no return. This was the beginning of the end for Anders, and this was a true beginning for Fenris for the first time in his life. That's Dragon Age 2 in a nutshell for me. It's all gray, and it's all about confronting yourself and what it means to truly be alive, even in a world where society doesn't think you really deserve to be. From the expertly crafted foreshadowing that I didn't even begin to catch until my second playthrough, to the characters that felt real in a way and how they evolved through interacting with each other, every single person in this game just felt really super impactful. Plus, you could actually help a blood mage that's not really a blood mage get laid for the first time in a C bar as he embarrassingly winks at you, thinking he's oh so smooth. Like, come on, man, that's comedy gold. For anybody that hasn't played Dragon Age 2, I highly recommend it. Think of it as another expansion if you have to. That definitely helped me in the past, but really truly pay attention to the details. This is a game that is riddled with details. It is not one that you can just kind of play casually because the details are where everything matters. Every line, every shifting foot, every body language. This is definitely one of those games where there's so much beauty, but you have to be paying attention to it. And if you have played it once and you didn't vibe with it like I didn't the first time, I definitely recommend going a little bit out of your comfort zone and trying again. For me, I didn't really resonate with this game until I went male mage Purple Hawk, because Purple Hawk is best Hawk, romancing Fenris. Usually when I play these types of games and RPGs, I usually tend to go towards the female characters because that's what I identify as, and that really I like to see myself in the games I'm playing, but something for me in this story just clicked when I changed that perspective. And the DLC! Do not forget the DLC, it's so important. With Isabella, with Sebastian, and for the love of God, take a sibling with you for Legacy. Believe me, you will see an entirely different side of Bethany, especially Carver if you do. And when I say especially, I mean Sir Grumperson Carver. You see a whole other side, and you see that family dynamic that a lot of people were missing with his character. So yeah, that's me. That's it for me and my one-man parade of Dragon Age 2. I have a lot of passion for this game. I even have a tattoo of this game. It's something that I really hold special and will treasure it forever. And I will advocate till the day I die this one gets a remaster with actual rotating dungeons instead of the same repetitious locations, because god damn it deserves it. So yes, that's where I am. I hope you give it a shot and even see a small glimpse of what I see when I play this game. But in the meantime, happy gaming.
We've made difficult decisions.
And there are still more ahead of us.
2 people aren't enough to save the galaxy.
We need the toughest,
Smartest.
deadliest allies.
We need you.
We need you to join us.
And listen to Reignite.
A certain point of view podcast about storytelling.
Love.
And Mass Effect.
Join us every other Thursday as we fight for the fate of an entire galaxy.
You can find us everywhere you get your podcasts.
Or at certainpov.com/reignite.
We're counting on you.
We should go.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.